Alright guys, I've been asked for a deck list since the ban list and a little bit before that. But anyway, this is my take on Branded DM. I'm not 100% satisfied with the deck yet, but I do want to address some of the changes I might be making as I go through it. That was good. Side deck and my extra deck out of the way. Going through the main. Two Dark Magician, you don't need three. Two is very stock standard. Just has 5 with 2. Some people who play Branded DM play 1, and I really just don't get that. 1 mana for the Albion play, which I'll show at the end of the video because I feel like most Branded players aren't doing it, which is the superior play to Lebellion. And we'll move these guys up. And we will do 3 Magician Souls. Sorry if like the foiling on the card kind of like obstructs it or might be bright. The lighting in my room sucks utter dick. So next is 3 Rod, kind of stock standard and typical DM stuff. I am playing Alubers, but Rod is still the primary normal summon for me. Next is 2 Illusion of Chaos and 2 Prep because they're basically the same thing in the deck. Prep will get you to any of those cards, and Illusion of Chaos can get you to Soul's Rod, DM, Mana, or your copies of Timaeus and Secrets through Rod and Soul Servant. I grouped Secrets and the Preps together with Timaeus and Illusion of Chaos because they're basically the same thing. Secrets is just Timaeus without legs. Let's be honest. But pretty stock standard DM stuff. I have thought about playing Apprentice, and we'll get into what I would cut for that here soon as we get into the spells. 2 Circle, this has been okay in testing. I'm not in love with it. You could cut it to 1 and be perfectly fine. Also, obviously, 3 Soul Servant. You can get the draw 2 and Branded DM pretty consistent. Also upgraded mine to Secrets from the last deck profile. I still have my Ultras. I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but I have them. Also, to go with these 2, the card that is a must in DM, but some people like to argue who don't play Dark Magician, is Upstart because of how well it works with those 2 cards. Then I am playing V1 Salvation and V1 Eternal Soul. You really don't need 2 Eternal Soul. Some people play it and it's like okay, especially though if you play the Mystic Mind version, play it, but honestly I still like it at 1. I might go back to 1 Circle 2, maybe cut it for Apprentice or a Hand Trap. Haven't decided yet, but this is a pretty stock standard Dark Magician spell trap lineup. Nothing in particularly fancy or like not stock standard. Alright, moving on into the Branded Fusion area to deck 2 Albaz. I never tend to brick on it, and I feel like 2 is the correct ratio. Because if you get hand trapped off Lebellion, your other copies of Branded Fusion are dead, and he's stuck in grave with no way to get him back into the deck. 3 copies of the Power Spell to deck, Branded Fusion. If you want to play Dragoon Turbo, I feel like Branded Fusion is the way to do it. Or you just sit on like the Insight package with Rev, which isn't bad. I'm not a big fan of that. But if you want to play it, go for it. Also, one sack you one of them and thinking about cutting is 1 Called By. I feel like it'd just be better to play a Hand Trap or something I'll see more consistently, along with maybe cutting Circle to 1. But Called By is also stupidly good, and it's kind of a toss-up for me, really. Alright, moving on to the more Despia area of the deck. 2 Aluber, like I mentioned earlier that I was playing. And 3 Branded Opening. I'm not in love with this ratio. I might alter it to maybe 2 Aluber, 2 Branded Opening, or just max out on both. I haven't decided yet. So far, this has been working well for me in testing. But anyway, moving on. Not too much to say. Opening just gets you to your copies of Branded Fusion and so forth and so on. If you don't know what Branded does by now, then you've been living under a rock for the past, like, forever. Alright, moving on to the Dogmatika engine in the deck. I am playing 1 Ecclesia and the 1 Fleur de Lis. I want to upgrade my Fleur-de-Lis to a secret rare, but just haven't yet. Finally got my third Nadir, which was the biggest thing keeping me from uploading this profile. I'm so glad Nadir is back to 3. It opens so many additional combo lines for the deck and can set up your Soul Servant for a draw, and occasionally a draw 2 if you have mana already in the grave. Also, one Dogmatika punishment. I've been thinking about cutting it, but it's too good of a trap. I like it right now. Maybe I'll cut it in the future, but for now, I'm on it. Alright, moving on to the extra deck. 2 Dragoon, 1 more set for the Tamiya's play, and 1 for the Branded Fusion engine of the deck. You could cut it to 1, but for now, I like it at 2. 1 copy of Dragonite. It is possible to end on Dragoon and Dragonite in the same turn, but you really don't want to do that unless you have Circle and Eternal Soul already established. Moving on to the branded section of the deck. 1 Mirror Jade, secondary boss monster. You really only need the 1. 1 Lebellion. I don't make Lebellion as much as I do Albion because it kind of doesn't leave Dark Magician on field or engraved to make Soul Servant a draw 1. And I'm playing 2 Albion, 1 for the play with Souls and Branded Fusion, which I'll show in a video tomorrow, and 1 to send off Mirror Jade for Recursion or Nadir. Either or, it doesn't matter. Alright, moving on to the last 3 cards of my extra deck before getting into the Super Poly targets. 1 Guardian Chimera. You can make it on occasion. It's not super consistent, but you could cut it if you wanted to. 1 copy of Titaniclad for the Dogmatika engine. And 1 copy of Entis as a Nadir target and or punishment target. You could play 2 Entis and cut the Chimera, but honestly it's up to you. Entis is just a really good card, and so is Chimera. Still tinkering around with the extra deck ratios, but moving on to the Super Poly targets. 1 Starving Venom. 1 for the planet Dragos Despia. And 1 Garura. Garura doubles as a Nadir target because it can get you that draw 1. Starving Venom becomes a giant beat stick, and Dragos Despia is a imperm on legs. We all know this. And the last 2 cards of my extra deck. The 1 Artemis. Artemis is extremely good and can help you if you open just Rod. Make your Nadir package more live. And also 1 Imduck because Imduck is very good and can help set up your Eternal Soul and Dark Magical Circle plays more often than not. But you don't get into them super often just because Branded Fusion locks you out of links. Moving on to the side deck. 3 Super Poly because it's a board breaker busted card. Really good this format. 3 Forbidden Droplet. I got a really good deal on Droplet from a guy at my locals. Traded 3 refs and like $20 for it, so I would obviously take that. I did reorder my refs so I can play Invoke Dark Magician later. 2 Cosmic, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster for things like Mystic Mine and Glitch. Also, 3 copies of D-Barrier. I still think D-Barrier is solid this format. And 1 tech card for Sprite is Mischief of the Gnomes. Make all their monsters level 1. So they can't really do full Sprite combo. Alright, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys would change about the list, what you like, what you don't like, any critiques you would make. And also, feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this or just think I'm an idiot and you want to make fun of me later. Also, peace.